Yeah, The Creator is absolutely my favorite film of the year. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me about it.
Oh, thanks, man. Honestly, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I love it when I'm anticipating a movie and it actually delivers. And not only did this deliver, it over delivered. So I want to start at the beginning because in 2023, I feel like this is an original movie. It's not franchise. It's not based on pre-existing IP. This is your idea, top to bottom, and it's a big sci-fi film. So, what did you have to do? How did you pitch this movie to get somebody to trust you to go make it and give you the money to make this movie?
Yeah, I mean, we did a whole. So the way we pitched the film, like the very simple version would be this: this is the budget you normally have for a movie, and what happens is they usually take away this much as a safety net, like an insurance policy, and they put it on a shelf. Well, I was like, can we go make the movie with this, right? Like an independent, artistic film, and have this as the backup insurance to go give to like Industrial Light and Magic and do crazy VFX throughout the whole film. And they were like, that sounds really cool. No one's ever done this before. Prove it, And so we were like, okay, can we go do a location scout? They gave us a little bit of money. We went to eight or so countries in Southeast Asia. And I didn't tell them, but I snuck a camera with me and like one of those 1970s anamorphic like cinema lenses. And basically we shot everywhere we went. I got all this material. When I came back, I cut together like a 10-minute short or whatever, and then went to Industrial Light and Magic and said, look, this is how I want to make the movie. I want to sort of reverse engineer everything, do it all backwards, like, and kind of cheat. And you could see them quite nervously going, okay, like wanting to be part and play along, but like this could really backfire. And so we did this little test. They knocked it out of the park. It looked stunning. And things that normally take like a month were taking like a few days. And then we basically hit play on that to the studio and they greenlit the film.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, kudos to all you guys who were part of that pitch because this movie is stunning and the VFX work especially is awesome. But there's an AI concept in The Creator. I can geek out with you about some of the concepts you introduced in this film all day long. But there is one AI concept in The Creator I really want to talk to you about and get your thoughts on. When a person's memory and their thoughts and their personality is scanned out of their brain, put on a memory card, and transferred into a sim, as they're called in The Creator, is that the same person? Or is that like, where do you fall on the consciousness debate with AI and transferring that?
That's the great question, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of up to your own beliefs about that. It's always like that dilemma with Kirk in Star Trek, where if he's beamed up to the Enterprise and then it's got a fault in it, and then there's two of him being beamed up, like which one's the real Kirk, if you know what I mean? Like if you copy someone and paste them somewhere else, they'll both argue that they're the real deal. And so, but I like the idea that there's a time limit to that person. Like depending on how long ago they died, or when you scan them, you might only get like 30 seconds of ability to talk to them, and then it's over. And I love all that stuff. It's kind of why I geek out on sci-fi so much.
Oh my gosh, the stuff you put into this film, I loved it, man. And I mean, the combination of VFX that you have and practical effects is pretty stunning. And I feel like it was hard to tell which was which at times. And I love to hear about, did you have to develop new technology? Because like those police robots looked so realistic. So did you have to develop anything new to put these things together for The Creator?
I think the thing we did that probably other films at this level, probably were told off if they had tried to do the same, was that we didn't have tracking markers on everybody. So we had all these we had real people play all the different roles. So anyone who's an AI in the movie pretty much there's an actor doing it for real. And I didn't want dots and markers on everyone because there was a scenario where we decide, these police, maybe they shouldn't be AI, maybe they should just be humans, right? Because we didn't know how much money we would have to do all the VFX at the end. And so we didn't want to get locked into anything. So everybody who was in the movie didn't know if they would end up as a robot or not. They just had to play it very realistically like a real human. And so I think that adds to the realism. When you do finally make that person into a robot, it seems very natural because they're really there, really doing, running through the cornfield or whatever it was. And that's one of my favorite things about the film is that it's got that, it's that science fiction, but very grounded,
Wow, what you guys did is incredible. There's an ongoing conversation. Speaking of the development of this technology, this VFX technology, there's obviously a big conversation right now about AI and people's likeness, and specifically like kind of like the sim we just talked about, kind of actors who have passed away and their likeness is used in films after they've passed away, which is something that you got to do with Rogue One with Peter Cushing, and that's something that is becoming more and more prominent as technology seems to be making that even easier to accomplish. I'd love to hear your thoughts on like where you think that technology can go, and if that's the same thing as where it should go.
Sounds like Jurassic Park, isn't it? It's kind of got a lot in common. It's got a lot in common with Jurassic Park because in the timeline of cinema, there's like you can kind of draw a line around Jurassic Park and digital effects, and there was everything before and after. And I think AI is going to be that same milestone. Like I think filmmaking before AI and filmmaking after AI can be quite different. There's already stuff you can see coming down the line that's not there yet, but it's just a matter of time. Like being able to generate footage from scratch without having to use a camera and all this sort of stuff. And it's impossible to predict where it's going to go. My secret hope is that it's going to democratize filmmaking, and that you won't need to have $200 million to make whatever film's in your head anymore. And so my hope is like, just like, you know, when everyone could suddenly have an electric guitar, there was this big creative explosion of rock and roll and music in the 60s and 70s, that there might be like a cinema version of that where kids in their bedroom, nothing's stopping them, they can do anything they want. And like, I would hope that out of that, those tools, like some really special storytelling will happen that can take massive risks because there's no real budget, you know, at stake if it doesn't work. So we'll see.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, of course, you need the filmmakers and you need the actors. And you found a new actor in this movie, Madeleine playing Alfie. Can you talk to me about how you found your Alfie? Because she's incredible.
Yeah. We did a casting call like around the whole world. And we did it for both boys and girls. Didn't know, the gender was going to be based on whoever's the best actor. And I hate movies with the little kid actors in them. Like typically, there's only a handful, if any, that are great. Most of them, you get a really annoying child actor, and I didn't want to make that kind of film. And so it's like, if we can't find the right kid, I don't want to do this. And so we had hundreds of tapes. I watched, I don't know how many, but like 100 or so, and then met with about 10 kids. And I was paranoid so the first person that ever came in the room was Madeleine, who's in the movie. And she just did this stunning performance. And it was kind of like, hang on, what's happened? Is this a reincarnation of an actress from another era or something? And I was so paranoid that her mum had told us some sad story to make us really emotional that I then just went, hey, do you mind if we just play around? And we just invented this other scene with her. And it was even better. And she left the room, and I was just like looking at everybody going, this is it, like that's our kid. And I was really nervous for the next 6 months or longer, I can't even remember how long now. I was just so nervous that the family were going to back out of doing the movie because, it was asking a lot to go to Thailand and shoot for 6 months. She's pretty exceptional.
I mean, you guys struck gold there. She was so good in this film. And I have to ask, as a huge nerd who loves your Godzilla work, your Rogue One work, and now your completely original work on The Creator, did doing something original make you want to continue down this path going forward, or does something like a Star Wars or even a Marvel or DC, like just another franchise, ever appeal to you again, or do you want to get this kind of complete freedom to do your thing with your next one?
I like franchises, obviously, else I wouldn't have done 2 of them, but and so there are things that I would still love to do in that arena. But I would love to, if I got to do them, I only want to do them if I can use this sort of methodology and bring this sort of stamp to it. Because, you go into a certain factory, it's going to turn out like all the other things in the factory. So it's like trying to escape the factory and just do it this way. If someone was willing to go, okay, here's the IP, here's the franchise, but go off and do it how you do things, that would be probably one of the best case scenarios, I reckon.
Oh, man, any of these franchises would be lucky to have you, Gareth. Thank you so much for talking with me about The Creator. I love this film, and I cannot wait to see it again.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.